Hello everybody, Killer Winston here, and today I will be doing with Deku was Tristan Part 10. So in the last part, Deku just found out that he is not human, and that he is half goddess, half demon, him also awakening a bit of his goddess powers and healing Dahlia, them basically having a reunion. But that reunion would have been interrupted by a man with yellow hair and a scar on his forehead. Now, continuing the story, whenever Deku was basically hugging Dahlia, that was when the man with yellow hair and a scar on his forehead would have appeared out of nowhere. Him saying, "Hey Dahlia, you're..." Him seeing what Deku and Dahlia are basically currently doing. Him continuing to say, sorry, did I interrupt something?" Deku, after hearing someone say that, he would just basically jump away from Dahlia. Him saying, no, of course not. As the man would just walk closer to Dahlia. With Dahlia seeing the man's face, she would have said, "Oh, hey Lance, so what brings you here?" The man saying, "You know why I'm here, Delia. I'm here to take you back to the forest. Your parents are very sick about you." Deku, being confused, asking, "Wait, you live in a forest?" Delia saying, "Yeah, about that." As the man would have looked over to Deku, him asking, "Do I know you?" To which Deku just says, Uh, no, should I? "No, you just look familiar, but nice to meet you. My name is Lancelot." Him extending out his hand, which Deku takes, him shaking Lancelot's hand. Deku saying, hi, nice to meet you too. My name is Izuku Midoriya." As Lancelot would have asked both Deku and Dahlia what their relationship is. To which Deku and Dahlia, after hearing that question, both of their faces would have turned red. With Lancelot seeing that, he would have understand, him saying, "So Midoriya, do you mind having a fight with me?" Deku being, of course, confused, saying, "Wait, what? Why?" "Because I want to see how strong my cousin's future boyfriend is." "Wait, you're a cousin's?" "Yeah, what?" No, I just thought you're siblings." "Okay, first thing, you owe me an explanation." Deku pointing at Dahlia, which Dahlia just says, of course. With Deku continuing to say, "Second, I would like to fight you, but I can't. Because 1, this is school, and we can't fight on school grounds. 2, we can't use our quirks without permission." Lancelot just saying, "Actually, there is a way to bypass those rules." "Wait, what? How?" "Well, I can tell you, but you need to keep it a secret." "Sure, of course, I'm good at secrets." As that was when Lancelot would have just snapped his fingers. Deku saying, is it me or did the world just turn black and white?" "Well, no, it's only you, me, and Dahlia." Also, if you were wondering what Lancelot just did, he just basically used zero sign. And I know you guys are confused, but hear me out. Since at the time of me posting this video, there isn't an official power for Lancelot. So, for the sake of this video, let's just say Lancelot has the power of his parents. So basically, he has the power to manipulate wind, control plants, and, have the powers of Snatch. But since he is also half fairy, he should have the powers of a fairy as well. So in conclusion, Lancelot has the powers of levitation, changing his appearance, manipulate wind, control plants, and Snatch. Now, after explaining what Lancelot just did, Deku would have asked, So you stole everyone's perception of us, but did you forget one thing? Lancelot saying, what? Since you make it so that no one can know we're here, then how are we supposed to explain that we disappeared out of nowhere? Oh, that? Dahlia is already on that. Deku being confused and turning around. Him seeing that Dahlia already made two stone golems that look identical to, well, Dahlia and Deku, with both of those stone golems laying on the bed, and Dahlia closing the curtain. So, from a distance, you can see the shadow of Deku and, well, Dahlia. As after that, Dahlia, Lancelot, and Deku would have went to the PE grounds. Them basically getting ready to fight each other, with Dahlia being on the sidelines and, well, watching the fight. Now, that was when Lancelot's spear would have came up from the ground, Deku being surprised, as Lancelot would have grabbed that spear and saying, "So, Izuku Midoriya, are you ready?" With Deku using Rebellion and creating a sword, him saying, "Yes, I am." As their fight would begin with Dahlia yelling begin, and whenever the fight started, Lancelot would have immediately rushed towards Deku, with Deku doing the same thing, them clashing with their weapons, Deku trying to slash away at Lancelot, with Lancelot trying to do the same thing. As that was when Deku would have enchanted his sword with Hellblaze. Lancelot seeing that, he would have immediately jumped back, since he knows what Hellblaze is. Deku seeing Lancelot jump back, he would have charged up a wave of Hellblaze in his other hand, him blasting the wave of Hellblaze towards Lancelot, which Lancelot having to see that coming, he would have basically just float out the way. But he would have still felt the heat radiating from the, well, Hellblaze. Him thinking, why does this feel so familiar? As that was when Deku would have appeared right next to Lancelot. Him punching Lancelot in the face and sending Lancelot to the ground, which Lancelot getting back up, he would have immediately fired a gust of wind towards Deku, which Deku being surprised, he would have been sent flying back. As whenever he landed back onto the ground, that was when vines would start to shoot out of the ground. It's wrapping itself around Deku's entire body, as that was when Lancelot would have rushed in and threw out his spear. Deku seeing that Lancelot's spear is going straight towards him, he would immediately use Hellblaze to burn away the vines, him doing so and dodging out the way, as the spear would have went straight past him, but Deku would have catch the spear with his hands. Him knowing that Lancelot is rushing in, he would have spin around and try to bash the spear into Lancelot, him doing so as Lancelot would have just basically catch the spear, with both of them struggling to get the upper hand on the other, as that was when Lancelot would have gotten the upper hand, him taking his spear back and kicking Deku in the stomach. After kicking Deku, Lancelot would have sent a wave of wind towards Deku, which Deku seeing that, he would have swung his sword around and basically try to use full counter, which works, with the wave of wind going straight back towards Lancelot, this surprising Lancelot and, well, hitting him, this setting Lancelot flying back. Him, after landing, would have said, "Interesting. Well then, let's take it up a notch." Him standing back up and extending out his hand, him saying, "Physical hunt," as Deku would have gotten his, well, energy stolen, him stumbling a bit as he would start to gasp for air, with Lancelot rushing in and kneeing Deku in the face, him smacking Deku in the face with his spear and kicking Deku back. With Deku regaining his balance, he would have fired a wave of Hellblaze towards Lancelot, which Lancelot would just dodge off the way, him manipulating some vines around Deku's legs and making them shoot out of the ground, them wrapping themselves around Deku's entire body again, as this time Lancelot would have fired a wave of wind towards Deku. And whenever Lancelot did that, Deku would have simply smirked, him being engulfed in darkness, with the vines wrapping around Deku's body being burnt away, as Deku would have immediately disappeared from Lancelot's eye. Lancelot being confused, he would have started to look around, him seeing no one but Dahlia. But whenever Lancelot looked back, he would have saw Deku in his face, with Deku's demon mark being right in front of Lancelot's face. Lancelot seeing that demon mark, he would have been shocked and, well, confused, because Lancelot does know what demons are, as that was when he would have been smacked across the face, this sending Lancelot back onto the ground, him getting back up to see Deku rushing in and charging up a ball of Hellblaze, him immediately firing that ball of Hellblaze straight at Lancelot. Lancelot seeing that, he would have immediately jumped off the way, but to his surprise, whenever he jumped off the way, the ball of Hellblaze would basically change direction, it still going straight at Lancelot. As before that ball of Hellblaze can actually land on Lancelot, it would have changed direction again, it going straight up to the sky. Lancelot being confused, as Deku would have punched Lancelot in the stomach. This, of course, sending Lancelot flying back, with Lancelot regaining balance in mid-air and landing back onto the ground, as Deku would have jumped up into the air and swing his sword over his head and down onto Lancelot, which Lancelot would have just brought up both of his hands and, using his spear, he would have blocked the attack. But whenever Lancelot used his spear to block the attack, Deku's sword would have just basically sliced the spear in half, it going straight towards Lancelot's face. But before Deku's sword lands on Lancelot's face, he would have manipulated the wind in front of his face to catch the attack, with Deku's sword stopping right in front of Lancelot's face. But before Lancelot can do anything else, Deku would have spun around and kicked Lancelot in the face, this making Lancelot stumbling to his right. With Deku landing back onto the ground, he would have spun around again and kicked Lancelot in his legs, him basically sweeping Lancelot off of the ground. And when Lancelot is falling onto the ground, Deku would have fired a ball of Hellblaze straight at Lancelot, this again sending Lancelot flying back, with Deku immediately rushing towards Lancelot, him running past Lancelot as he would have kicked Lancelot up into the air, him extending out his hand as Lancelot would have been sent straight into a ring of Hellblaze, him being in the middle, with Deku just closing his hand into a fist, this making every single ball of Hellblaze explode simultaneously, with Lancelot having to fall out of the air and onto the ground. Deku having realized what he just did, his demon mark would immediately disappear, him running over asking if Lancelot is okay or not, which Lancelot would just say yes, him standing back up as Deku would have saw a lot of injuries on Lancelot, him extending out his hand and apologizing to Lancelot, with a symbol appearing on Deku's left eye, him basically healing Lancelot. With Lancelot seeing that, he would have been even more confused, him thinking, wait, no, is that a goddess symbol on his eye? But I only thought that goddesses have those. Wait, that demon mark, the goddess eyes, and full counter. No, could it be? Nah, there's no way. As Deku after healing Lancelot, they would have went back to the infirmary, with Deku asking Lancelot if he can deactivate Zero Sign, which he does. Him after deactivating Zero Sign, he would have reminded Dahlia to basically go back to the Fairy King's forest once in a while. After that, he would have turned around and basically leave. But before he does, he would have turned back around and say, "Hey Midoriya." Yes? Let's do this again sometimes. Him just disappearing, with Deku turning around and looking at Dahlia saying, "Now that that's out of the way, it's time for you to explain." Which Dahlia, after hearing Deku say that, she would just say, "Okay Izuku, I know this might sound fake, but hear me out. I am not human. In fact, I am half fairy, half giant." Uh, okay? You mean you're like those fairies from the fairy tales? Yeah, something like that. Wait, shouldn't fairies have like fairy wings? Yes, we do. Then how don't you have fairy wings? The thing is, I don't actually know, since I am half giant and my parent, who is a fairy, is also a late bloomer, so I actually don't know. Oh, okay then. Wait, that's all? You're not surprised or think that I'm lying? Well, that's not the most surprising thing I've heard today, so no, not really. Then what is the most surprising thing to you today? Deku saying, "Well, I can't tell you, but you need to keep it a secret." "Of course I will, but will you keep my secret?" "Yes, of course." "Well, the thing is, I just found out that I am not human, and I am half demon, half goddess." Thalia, after hearing that, her eyes would have widened. And that will be the end of this video. But before it does actually ends, I would like to do a retcon. The retcon being whenever Deku, or should I say Tristan, was sent to the human world, he would have been 3 years old instead of 1. Because after thinking about it, yeah, Deku mastering full counter at 1 years old is just, well, absurd. So basically in the previous episodes, whenever I say that Deku is 1 years old, instead of that, it would have been 3 years old. And also whenever I say that Deku doesn't remember him being 1 years old, it would have been from 1 years old to 3 years old. And yeah, that's about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. That would be amazing. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!